If you're staying for the news, let's get into our first story. Stakeholders in the construction industry are calling on the finance minister to take into consideration the subsidy of the cost of building materials as the government prepares for its budget presentation later today. Now, Finance Minister Cassiel Ato-Forson is expected to present the government's fiscal policy for the year later today. Daniel Ohene-Edu, project manager for cities and habitats, explains that in decongesting Accra, government must seek support of the private sector. We'll hear from him shortly, but first, let's hear from former Deputy Minister for Finance, Stephen Amwa, charging government to focus on fiscal consolidation and the key economic indicators in its budget presentation.
Profit after tax normally is very difficult. I'm just getting a hint of the fact that they want to tax turnovers. If that is so, then it's extremely unacceptable, very damaging. I hope it is not so. But honestly speaking, me as somebody who has some sort of knowledge or expertise in that area, I think they should be able to let us see that our fiscal consolidation will be number one. And if that will happen, government has to take the right decisions when it comes to most of the primary macro indicators. In the areas such as health, in the areas such as education, in the areas particularly agriculture, industry, and service, we need to have very definite, specific decisions made by the government, and not just the decisions in the budget, but make sure that we can realize these areas. We can materialize them, we can achieve them. We can have that material impact, not just rhetorics, and not to repeat the usual recycling of political gimmicks just for Ghanaians to be happy. Then at the end of the day, they don't really get the material returns or need. I think these are the things we need to look at.
Well, let's now hear from Daniel Ohene-Edu, project manager for cities and habitats, calling for collaboration between government and the private sector in developing and decongesting across housing.
It's already choked. We all know the developments are coming this way, eastward. Westward, you can say, but a lot for the eastward, this direction. So we are kind of pulling a lot of. There is a certain decongestion of Accra. At the end of the day, the population is still increasing every day. People are coming from the hinterlands, and those in Accra are also, growing up. Yes, and the working class is also growing. So it's quite significant. We are contributing to a major, housing or property deficit that we have. We know the numbers are in the millions.
Now, the president of the Ghana Institute of Surveyors, Surveyor Kwame Obeng Ajina, has called on President John Mahama to involve surveyors in the fight against illegal mining and the reclamation of lands destroyed by miners. He made this appeal during the Institute's week-long celebration in Accra. There's more in this report.
The president of the Ghana Institute of Surveyors, Dr. Antonia Kweje, speaking at a media engagement to launch the 20th Surveyors Week in Accra, stated that the institute will support the president with data on land degraded by illegal miners to assist the reclamation of destroyed lands. He emphasized that the president cannot effectively fight Galamsey without the support of surveyors.
On environmental sustainability and illegal mining, what we call Galamsey. The rise in illegal mining has significantly degraded Ghana's environment. Surveyors provide critical data for land reclamation, environmental impact assessment, and sustainable land management. We have the tools, we have the knowledge that will be able to use to assist the government to fight this menace that is destroying our environment.
According to him, the institute is enhancing public awareness of the role of surveyors to help address the issue of unqualified practitioners in the country.
The institution is intensifying its advocacy for the Surveying Council Bill, a regulatory framework essential for maintaining professional standards, eliminating unqualified practitioners, and safeguarding industry integrity.
This year's celebration is themed Harnessing and Projecting Survey Competencies, a catalyst for national development and enhancing emerging opportunities.
In our next story, the Member of Parliament for Ahafo South East, Yakubu Mohammed, says Parliament is working to boost women's political appointments from 30% to 45% under the Affirmative Action Act. The law, passed in 2024, aims at bridging the gender gap in governance. But can this bold push for equality become a reality? There's more in this report.
Law is to ensure the achievement of gender equality in political, social, economic, educational, and cultural spheres in Ghana. A Canadian non-governmental organization supporting rural women, Sokodevi, as part of events commemorating International Women's Day, has been educating women in agricultural areas on the Act at Abeswa near Edujama in the Ashanti region. Member of Parliament for the Ahafo South East constituency, Yakubu Mohammed, says women who are marginalized and vulnerable must be protected at all times.
I think that the right of women is something that we need to have much attention on, and that is why I'm so happy with the affirmative law that has been passed by Parliament for women to have a percentage. Currently we are working on it so that we can even have about 45% of women in governance.
Meanwhile, Gender Equality Coordinator for Together Project, one of the flagship programs of Sokodevi, revealed the NGO is supporting women in cooperative groups in cocoa production areas with alternative but sustainable income generating projects.
We celebrated it to give them that opportunity to access information about the new act, the new Gender Equity Act of Ghana. We use this opportunity to educate them about them.
I'm Interiors reports for Joy News.
Now, a renowned Ghanaian-born US-based surgeon, Dr. John DeGraff Johnson, is advocating for the establishment of tele-manipulation surgical centers in Ghana to bring world-class medical care closer to the people. Dr. DeGraff Johnson explains that this advanced system enables surgeons to perform even the most complex procedures remotely with unmatched precision and accuracy. He is urging Ghanaian authorities to immediately embrace the technology to revolutionize healthcare and cut unnecessary medical travel costs. Carlos Caloni has the rest of the story.
Tele-manipulation surgery is a remote-controlled technique that enables surgeons to perform procedures using robotic assistance, ensuring greater precision, accuracy, and minimally invasive interventions. Dr. John DeGraff Johnson, a Ghanaian-born US-based top surgeon specializing in robotic-assisted surgery, highlights the technology's efficiency in performing complex procedures without the need for direct human contact.
What we are talking about is the idea called tele-manipulation surgery. What does that mean? It means that one sits at a consult, manipulating the technology, and it's a remote arm that's operating on the patient. What it is that you just kind of control it, and it transmits your movement to the distal end of the tentacles that allows you to operate on the patient. In order for me to access your heart, for example, during an open heart surgery, it requires me to, number one, take a knife, cut the skin to the breastbone. Then I need a saw to literally saw open your breastbone.
Wow.
Then I need to put a retractor to spread open those breastbone to gain access into your chest to start conducting the preparation. So one can imagine the trauma that it takes to go through all the layers of the skin, the muscles, then the bone, and then spreading it open to gain access just to do the surgery. What if we don't have to do that? Suddenly we are avoiding the collateral damage that we deem necessary to gain access. So we are sneaking in between the ribs, gaining access through tiny little incisions and doing the exact same surgery we will be doing, except we are avoiding the access to your chest by, quote unquote, cracking your chest open.
Dr. DeGraff Johnson revealed that nearly all types of surgeries can be performed using this advanced technology significantly minimizing surgical risk.
There's a variety of surgeries. So the garden variety of surgeries is, let's say, prostate disease. When you have open prostate surgery, your risk of impotence is significantly high. However, if this done using the robot, your risk of impotence is almost near zero. Because the precision, you don't have to destroy too many things to get to where you need to go. Okay. For our ladies that need fibroid surgeries and things of that nature, it can be used for that.
Dr. DeGraft Johnson is urging policymakers in Ghana's health sector to take immediate action in establishing a tele-manipulation surgical center. He emphasizes that this will eliminate the need for Ghanaians to travel abroad for advanced medical care, ensuring world-class treatment is accessible at home.
The idea behind this technology is essentially democratizing healthcare in remote parts of the world, whereby perhaps they may not have access to higher level of care. Okay. I'll give you an example. Suddenly, we have a young lady who is found to have a hole in her heart. They need to have that repaired. The surgery is expensive. Perhaps, we have experts here, or we do not have the experts here. And the patient has to be sent outside Ghana. As you know, the world is changing. Some places may say, we're not going to grant you the visa. Or even if they will, has to go through the natural bureaucratic process that it takes. And what is not allotted to the patient is the luxury of time, waiting for the bureaucratic process to play out. What if a well-willing surgeon here in Ghana says, you know what, no problem, let me call a friend, a colleague outside of Ghana, anywhere in the world, that can join me in helping do your surgery remotely. This brings about a collaboration in healthcare that never before been seen.
Dr. DeGraft Johnson believes establishing a single tele-manipulation center here in Ghana will revolutionize healthcare in the country. For Joy News, Carlos Keloni, Accra.
Well, on our next story, the women's leader of the Socialist Movement of Ghana, Loretta Nade Ashi, has reminded the government of its 120-day campaign promise to end menstrual poverty in schools. Speaking at the International Women's Day celebration in Wa, she urged Finance Minister Dr. Cassiel Atuforsen to include free sanitary pads for schoolgirls in his maiden budget on March the 11th. Joy News' Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The Socialist Movement of Ghana, in partnership with the officers of the LSRC, NUC's Women Commissioners of the Simon Diedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, held a symposium at the campus of the university to mark the International Women's Day. They had participants drawn from some second cycle and tertiary institutions in the region. Women's leader of Socialist Movement of Ghana, Loretta Nade Ashi, used the opportunity to remind the government of its 120-day promise of ending menstrual poverty among girls in schools. She urged the Finance Minister, Dr. Cassiel Atuforsen, to include in his maiden budget slated for Tuesday the provision of free sanitary pads for girls in schools.
Menstruation is a biological thing. Menstruation, no girl goes to knock on menstruation's door. Menstruation comes to us because it's biological and it is part of our being. And we think that it is a social responsibility. As a country that thinks of its women, girls must be provided with sanitary pads so that they can bleed with dignity. Girls have to sell sex just to get money to take care of themselves that time of the month. It hasn't been easy with girls in the rural area especially, or people in working class communities, because spending 30 cedis, it is even more than our minimum wage. It doesn't add up. We think that the finance minister should incorporate the bill, the budget that is going to provide sanitary products for girls in it, so that women can have, girls who go to school can have free, dignified periods.
Another speaker at the symposium was an international development practitioner, Ida Nakar, who wants the world to see gender equality not just as a goal, but a way of life.
52% of women being women. However, it is literally, we are in a man's world. But the woman or the girl is as intelligent, innovative, creative as the man. But you look at most leadership or positions of influence or positions of power, it is held by the men. Does that mean that the women, we are not capable? Does that mean that women, we don't have those issues, or we don't have the capabilities or the skills that we need to be there? So today we are celebrating and also saying that women, we are capable, women, we have what it takes to be there, and we are appreciating the efforts that every woman is doing in their own small corner.
A patron of the Socialist Movement of Ghana and lecturer at SDD Yobets, Dr. Eunice Yogri, threw further light on the program.
Women form parts and half of the ceiling or half of the sky, and women are striving hard to break barriers to get to where they want to be. Considering the fact that women are limited in opportunities, this program is meant to expose the opportunities to women so that they can also leverage on that to strive harder and get to where they want to go. When you go to a community, you have a lot of women who, in quotes, I would say, are idling, which, when given the slightest opportunity or the iota of opportunity, they can, in fact, move barriers and make great differences.
Now, the Simon Diadong Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies has inducted its oldest junior member, 68-year-old Professor Na Daniel Baga. The former UDS WA Campus Dean and ex-Council of State member has enrolled for a Bachelor of Laws degree. Adding to the moment, his 24-year-old daughter, Portia Daniel Baga, also took the matriculation oath alongside him. Joy News' Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
There was thunderous applause that echoed around the new auditorium when the Vice Chancellor of the Simon Diadong Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, SDD Yobes, Professor Emmanuel K. Derble, introduced him as one of the matriculates for the LLB program.
This is the man that laid the foundations for this campus, for this university, as foundation dean of this campus. This man was my lecturer, and he contributed to molding me into who I am today.
Professor Na Daniel Baga was the foundation dean of the WA campus of the University for Development Studies. He is the immediate past Council of State member and the chief of Nyambale in the Nodulukeleo district. The 68-year-old former dean did not sit at the front pew as he is used to, but sat among fellow matriculates, more than half of them fit to be his children or grandchildren. One of them is his 24-year-old daughter, Portia Daniel Baga. He took the matriculation oath with her.
I was excited to see her just standing by me. You see, and honestly, if I tell you, that's even one of the reasons why I did it. You know, I was trying to encourage her to do law because she did, what do we call it, real estate management. And I said that, well, you can do law and add it to your real estate, but she was thinking that now she wouldn't do it. I said, okay, if you won't do it, I'll go and do it. I'll go and do it. So I even bought my phone before she also said, oh, Dad, if you will do it, I'll also do it.
Professor Daniel Baga shed further light on why he enrolled at the Yobets Law School.
I want to indicate to my colleagues here that age, even though I'm old, age shouldn't be a barrier for the desire to learn more. So my coming to enroll into the legal profession or the LLB program is to serve as a motivator for my colleagues who are even younger, much younger than me, but who think they are too old, you know, to want to venture into education again. In fact, immediately after the matriculation, a lot of them came saying that, oh, next year we are also going to enroll.
For this year's Ramadan season, the Central Regional NDC outfit has donated some food items to the Zango caucus community in the region. According to the Central Regional NDC chairman, Professor Richard Esiedu, the party wants to express its support for the Muslim brothers and sisters in the Central region through these food items, so Ramadan can be an easy one for them. Abigail Nkrumah Essel has more in this report.
The food items, which included rice, oil, milk, sugar, among others, were donated to the Zongo Caucus community of the Central Region by the Central Regional Outfit of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Speaking to Joy News, the Central Regional NDC chairman, Professor Richard Esiedu, says this period of Ramadan requires a lot of food items, which has prompted the party to make the donation.
We have realized that they are embarking on the annual Ramadan. The Ramadan goes with prayers and admonition for the country. So being our brothers from the other side, I'm a Christian anyway, we have to support the group with some items. What they normally use during this period is sugar, milk, and those things. So the original party sat down and decided to buy these food items for the Zongo Caucus community in the central region. I think this will go a long way in supporting the Ahmadiyya sect, the Al Sunnah sect, and the type of Al Tijaniya sect in the region. We have decided to give a lot of bags to the various sects to share among its members in the region. And the party also has a Zongo Caucus wing, that's Zongo Caucus coordinators. We're also going to give them a number of bags to support their various constituencies. So in all, Central Region Chairman and his team have done so well. And we are praying that God will continue to shower his blessings on us through the Ramadan period, so that Ghana will be blessed and blessed and blessed. So that John Mahama will get all the glory and the blessings from God to rule this country well and possibly to reset it for a better future.
Some constituency executives shared their excitement at the gesture.
In fact, very, very marvelous. First in history. I haven't seen that before, because the chairman has made everything clear for everybody. There's 100 bags for every sect of Muslim. 100 bags for Tijaniyas, 100 bags for Al Sunnah Jama, and then 100 bags for Ahmadis. So every Muslim will enjoy it. I think it's better.
This is the first in history. We've never seen something like this before. And we thank Allah in the first place, and then we thank the regional chairman for his marvelous work that he has done for the Muslim communities in the Central Region.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Well, let's get ready now to get into our business update for the morning. Well, to set the ball rolling, let's head right into our currency market for today. To our stories now, and Ghana's private sector is expectant as Finance Minister Dr. Kasilato Forson prepares to present the 2025 budget in Parliament tomorrow, actually today, with a call for stability of the macroeconomic indicators. Senior country partner of the accounting and finance firm PricewaterhouseCoopers Ghana, Vish Ashiagwa, tells Joy Business expectations are high, hence the need for government to inspire hope in the private sector.
Well, expectation of businesses are for the government to do exactly what George outlined earlier, to cut expenditure where it's not actually required. So that term he used, wasteful expenditure cuts, I think would be most welcome. But again, as I said in my initial comment, it's all about initiatives that provide stability and predictability. As you know, Pius, business people like a certain sense of predictability and certainty so they can plan. So everybody's looking forward to that. Everybody's looking forward to government consolidating its resources and putting it behind certain key sectors like agric, like infrastructure, so that we don't spread ourselves too thin. If we can do just a few things properly, let's focus on those, get them done properly, and then also partner with the private sector by creating that environment that will allow the private sector to also play its part and maybe take some of the load off government in terms of financing, for example, capital expenditure through PPP arrangements and such like. So I think there's a lot of optimism out there, and we wait to see what happens tomorrow.
Staying on the budget, many respondents in the 2025 pre-budget survey by auditing firm KPMG are calling for a framework document that will direct the implementation of the 24-hour economy. Partner in charge of clients and markets at KPMG, Kwame Bania-Sapong, has been speaking to Joy Business ahead of the budget presentation.
The 24-hour economy is one that has come out very strongly by respondents as one that they look up to for economic turnaround, right? And specifically, I think what they're looking for is a framework and a practical implementation approach to it. I mean, particularly if you look at it, basically, how it's going to create jobs, right? So it's looking for people to be more efficient, use more time, basically doing a lot more with people. So I think predominantly there's a lot of goodwill for the 24-hour economy. Secondly, people are asking for a framework to support the specific actions that are required to implement this 24-hour economy. So for, countries that have implemented 24-hour economy, predominantly I think is based on activities that can run around the clock, right? So if you look at some services that, for example, manufacturing, if you structure yourself very well, you can produce within 24 hours. If you also provide the infrastructure for certain critical things like even agriculture, you can work 24 hours. So I think, as I said, people are looking for the policy framework to guide this implementation.
Let's now find out how the major commodities are trading on the international market. The AM News is done and dusted, of course, and we're serving you the News Review up next. We have two guests. Mohammed Bataglia is MP Sisala East, and we have Dr. Ikia Amwako, NPP Communications Directorate member. Both of them join us for the conversation in a few minutes. Do stay.